On today's edition of Dry January, we're going to be talking about the most critical component to fire protection and life safety systems, and that is the proper inspection, testing, and maintenance. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about the inspection and testing requirements for dry pipe valves. So if you look below, we're in NFPA 25, which is the standard for the inspection, testing, and maintenance of water-based fire protection systems. Now, although if we look here, Chapter 5 covers sprinkler systems, but because a dry pipe valve is considered a common component, we are in Chapter 13 here, which is Common Components and Valves, more specifically in 13.4. So in 13.4.5, we need to be doing an inspection of the exterior of a dry pipe valve monthly. That's to confirm that the valve is free of any physical damage. All the trim are appropriately open or closed in whatever position they need to be in, and then make sure that the immediate chamber or intermediate chamber is not leaking. So those are the three main things that we're looking at. And then if we have any valves on the trim that are between the quick opening device and the valve itself, we need to make sure that that's either supervised or properly sealed. And then looking at the connection to any of the water flow switches and devices there, and making sure that those are in the appropriate, in the appropriately open position. Now, as far as the interior of that valve, we need to be inspecting the interior of a dry pipe valve annually. And that's going to occur every time we do a trip test, because we're going to need to open it up to reset that valve anyways. So we do the interior inspection at that point. Now getting to testing. So we need to test a dry pipe valve annually. Now we want to make sure that we're doing that dry pipe valve test during warm weather, so we're not risking freezing the piping. So we're going to wait till warm weather. The best time to do it is going to be in springtime, because then that gives us the most amount of time to let any of the condensation and water drain out via any of the drum drips or low point drains that we have throughout the year until we get to the cold season. So the best time to do a dry pipe trip test is going to be in the springtime. And then what's important to know is that you can do a dry pipe valve trip with the control valve under that dry pipe valve slightly or closed or slightly open. And that's just to reduce the amount of water that's going to be introduced into the system. But every 3 years, we need to make sure we're doing a full flow trip test on that system. So every 3 years, we have to do a full flow with that control valve completely open. But between that, we can have the control valve slightly closed or closed a bit to slow down the water flow so we can quickly catch it and not fill up the system that much. But we want to make sure at least every 3 years we're doing a full flow trip test. Once it trips, we can then close it and make sure we're not filling up as much water in there as or limiting the amount of water that we flow into that system. But we want to make sure we're doing that full flow test every 3 years. If you're interested in learning more about inspection, testing, and maintenance of fire sprinkler systems, go ahead and check out the blog. I'm going to link it below. It goes over a lot of the inspection, testing, and maintenance requirements for a sprinkler system that you need to pay attention to, why it's important to do inspection, testing, and maintenance. And again, keep posted for some more Dry January videos coming up. Thanks.